Let me, let me try this one. It's more of an assumption, but it's put in the form of a question.
I like this one.
And you have written about this, by the way.
Probably.
To what do you attribute the lack of success of liberal talk radio?
That's not loaded at all.
Michael?
I appreciate you asking that.
I'm trying to think here of an appropriately glib and nasty answer, like lack of talent. But that's not true. I mean, I'm talking to a very formidable communicator, and I've actually, I'll tell you, I think the lack of success of liberal talk radio, and I know that people here, I'm getting ready for your boos, okay? So I'll give you ready, get set, go, and you go, boo! Okay, thank you. The problem with liberal talk radio is conservative talk radio emerged because conservatives strongly perceived that there was a shortage of conservative viewpoints expressed in mainstream television, newspapers, and magazines. And when Rush Limbaugh created the modern, and he did, when Rush Limbaugh created the modern medium of political talk radio, he was embraced enthusiastically because people said, at last, somebody is talking the way I think. Somebody is saying the things that I believe. The fact of the matter is that when it comes to conventional liberalism, there are plenty of people in the entertainment media who make TV series, who make movies, who report the daily news on broadcast news, who report it on CNN. There is a crowded marketplace. There is much more competition for committed liberals than there is for committed conservatives, and that's a fact. Because committed conservatives who want to listen to media have a choice of Fox News and talk radio. Liberals have far more choices, and I think that has harmed the growth of liberal talk radio.
Shall I respond?
Well, we want to get to a bunch of as many of the audience questions as possible, so if you'd like, go right ahead.
I'll try to be very quickly. Number one, your glib answer, the lack of talent, I think is actually true, because there has been for the last 20 years conservative talk radio in abundance, and there has been virtually no liberal talk radio, so there's been no opportunity for a farm team to develop. So there actually is a much smaller universe of people doing progressive talk radio right now. And the reason why, and I say this as somebody who worked in radio for a lot of years. I started in 1968 as a DJ. I did that. I was did news for 7 years. I was a program director for a year. And radio is the most risk-averse business in this industry. And any of the, Michael, you know this, any program director, will tell you this. Program directors don't wake up in the morning thinking, today I'm going to find the great new talent and make my station the best in the country. They wake up every morning thinking, what can I do today to avoid getting fired? And it's always been that way. And so what happened 20 years ago was Rush Limbaugh came along, and it followed the end of the fairness doctrine. And I'm opposed to the fairness doctrine as you guys define it also. Another straw man, I think. But Limbaugh came along, and he was brilliant. Rush Limbaugh he's a very, very smart guy. He's a very talented guy. He started in radio the same year I did. I have a lot of respect for him, and I disagree with his points of view, but he was good. And he got an audience. It took a couple of years. It took a couple of sputtering years, but finally by the third year, he had reached the point where every program director in America said, if I put that guy on the air, I won't get fired. And so then what happened was, now we're up to 1988, 89, 1990. At that point, then there was demand. Program directors were saying, I want the same thing, only different. In other words, I want another guy who can do exactly what Limbaugh did. And they thought that people were listening because he was conservative. But the fact of the matter is, and the proof of this fact, by the way, is the fact that in several cities in the last 5, 6 Arbitron books the last 2 years. I beat Rush Limbaugh on the ratings in multiple cities on multiple occasions. In Los Angeles, I beat Bill O'Reilly 2-1. progressive talk radio actually does work. But here's the point. The reason why so few stations have picked it up is because those stories have not been heard. Those stories have not been told. There are a few very successful progressive talk shows. There are a few very profitable success, and mine is one of them, the progressive talk shows. But by and large, that critical mass, and I'm guessing that within the next year or two we're going to hit it, that critical mass where program directors are saying, if I put Hartmann on the air, if I put Stephanie Miller on the air, if I put Ed Schultz on the air, if I put Randy Rhodes on the air, I won't get fired. That conventional wisdom will shift, and then we're going to see more of a 50-50, because I think that in a 50-50 America, people actually do want to hear voices from both sides.
This question to Thom. Go ahead.
Maybe when we're done tonight, Thom, we can make a little charity wager on whether in 5 years, say, there will be a 50-50 split between liberal and conservative talk. I'd be willing to make that wager.
We can discuss it.
Thom, Sharon in Northbrook writes in here, she asks, is there a better way to revive the economy than the present bailout philosophy?
Yeah, the bailout philosophy, which began with the Bush administration and has been embraced by the Obama administration, I think mistakenly by both, is a top-down philosophy. It's a let's pour money at the top, and it's essentially trickle down. Let's pour money in at the top and hope that some of it filters down. And as I said before, the demand in our economy is provided by wages. We've got 60% of the people who have subprime mortgages and adjustable rate mortgages actually qualified for prime mortgages and were never told so. There's been an enormous amount of fraud. On the other hand, there are some people who have been fraudulent too. I'm not defending them. I think they should get nailed. But there had become an entire fraudulent industry, hustling people. So at the bottom level is where I think this needs to be attacked, not at the top. I think that we need to be working out ways to be making people whole and making particularly the small banks whole. And in particular, I'd say that as a soundbite, any organization that is too large to fail is too large to exist.
It's a good soundbite. Original with you?
Pardon?
Good soundbite. Original with you?
No, Teddy Roosevelt.
No. Teddy Roosevelt said any organization that's too big to fail
is too big to exist.
Too big to...
Yeah. It's the trust buster. He busted up Standard Oil into 27 companies.
Let me say, one of the problems with the approach that Thom has just outlined is right now, you may have noticed, there are a lot of businesses that are failing. I know people who've presided over failing businesses. The idea that when you have a great many businesses that are struggling to survive in the United States, the way that those businesses will do better is by forcing them to pay more to their employees. It's just, where is this economic theory coming from? I mean, we're also competing in a world economy. One of the things that I think, by the way, that I would hope that Thom Hartmann could agree with me on, is one of the problems that we have in competing in a world economy is American business is tremendously damaged by the legal industrial complex, by the fact that we are a lawyer-ridden society, that too many issues that ought to be settled by the marketplace go to court, and we all pay a tax on this. People who take a look at this, the average American family pays $1,000 to $2,000 a year extra to make up for, and by the way, you talk about medical care, it's a huge problem with the high cost of medical care. One of the things that makes me proud to be a conservative is the fact that most conservatives support reining in the predatory, non-productive, destructive, anti-competitive excesses of the trial lawyers' bar, which Democrats won't stand up against.